Hello and welcome to a new season of The Box Score. My name is Sam DeCoste and I am your new host. Thank you for joining us tonight. For our first show of the season, there's only one place we could start: Foxborough, Massachusetts. Tom Brady returns to New England on Sunday Night Football. Brady facing the Patriots for the first time in his career as the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To the highlights from Gillette Stadium. On this play, Brady would break an NFL record. He would find Mike Evans down the seam for a gain of 28 yards. And on this play, Brady would become the NFL's all-time leading passer. He would pass his good friend Drew Brees, who was in the house for the game, covering the game for NBC. But on the drive, the Bucs had to settle for a field goal, so it would be 3-0 Tampa Bay in the first quarter. Then, Mac Jones leading the drive. He finds the Patriots in the red zone. He throws to Hunter Henry, the new tight end. That's a touchdown for the Patriots. They have a 7-6 halftime lead from Gillette. Then third quarter, of course, Brady and the Bucs storm back. Ronald Jones to the pylon. That's a touchdown. The Bucs retake the lead. It's 13-7 in the third. But Mac Jones not going down without a fight. He finds Jonnu Smith in the end zone. That's a touchdown. The Patriots have the lead in the fourth quarter. The rookie going toe-to-toe with Tom Brady. No one can believe it. Then, fourth quarter, Ryan Suckup gives the Bucs a 2-point lead from 48 yards, but Mac Jones has 2 minutes left. What's he going to do? He gets them into field goal range, and from 56 yards on 4th and 3 in a monsoon, the kick, it's no good. It hits the upright. The Patriots fall just short. Final score, Tampa Bay 19, New England 17. Tom Brady, emotional in his feels after the win.
I'm just very grateful for, amazing time here. And like I said, my football journey took me somewhere else. But I'm really enjoying that, and great to get a win, 3-1. I know to make it about the game, but, 3-1 against a really good football team tonight's where we wanted to get.
For all that's been said about the Brady-Belichick divorce and the life cycle of the relationship, let's make something very clear. This game mattered to Brady, more than you know. Brady's played in over 300 games, thrown for 80,000 yards, played in 9 Super Bowls, won 6 of those, and played in a lot of meaningful football games over the last 20 years. But this game may have been just as important as any other game that he's played. I know a Sunday night game in October with the chance to go to 3-1 doesn't match the consequences or the stakes of an AFC championship or a Super Bowl. But Brady wanted it bad. You could see his reaction from the podium. You could see he didn't play his best game. He was rattled. He was jittery. But it meant so much for Brady to march into Gillette Stadium and prove to his former coach that he's still good enough. He may be 44 years old, but he's playing the best football of his career this season. And he wanted to hand Belichick the loss and bury the Patriots in the standings. As for the Bucs, they're full steam ahead, chasing another Super Bowl title. Meanwhile, the Patriots are wallowing. They are 0-3 at home for the first time in 20 years. Their only win coming against the New York Jets, led by a rookie quarterback. They're 1-3 in a 3-way tie for last place in the AFC East. They're not catching the Buffalo Bills at the top of the division, and at this rate, they may not even crack into the playoffs. There's a lot of traffic in the AFC playoff race this year. The Cincinnati Bengals are 3-1 for crying out loud. The tides are turning in the AFC, and for the worse if you're New England. As for the rookie Mac Jones, he'll be fine. He played well enough to win the game Sunday night and showed true heart. He was a 4th and 3 away from being on his way to defeating the Super Bowl champions in Tom Brady's return to Foxborough. And now that we're on this topic, why didn't Belichick go for it on 4th and 3 and instead go for the field goal from 56 yards in the pouring rain? Nick Folk almost made that kick, and credit to him for it. But even if he made the kick, Brady gets the ball back with a minute left. We've seen that so many times already. If you give Brady the ball back on the last possession of the game, only needing a field goal, no less, he'll make you pay. But back to Mac Jones. What a performance from the kid, facing who many consider the greatest quarterback ever, also the quarterback that the Patriots coaches, organization, and fans are all expecting him to replace with the eyes of the world watching. Jones proved he can lead New England into the new era. But they have some catching up to do if they're going to make the playoffs in Jones' rookie year. They have to get him a wide receiver to start, not Nelson Aguilar. All right, that's enough about Brady and the Bucs and the Patriots. I have to join my team over on the other side of the set. I am joined now by our correspondents Ben Sher and Danielle DuBois. Welcome, guys. It's your first show on the Box Score. How do you feel? Run me through your emotional states.
Nervous. obviously, but ready to win, I guess. Just absolutely knock it out of the park.
Danielle, welcome. How you feel?
Pretty good, but I think you're wrong. I think I'm going to win some debates here instead.
All right, well, time to put some money where your mouth is, right? So the NFL season is in full swing, and we've already had our fair share of surprise packages so far. So up to this point in the season, what two teams are you guys surprised that have underachieved so far? Danielle, we'll start with you.
I personally believe that the Steelers have underachieved a lot this season. They are currently 1-3. They have only won against the Bills, which was an impressive game, I must say, and we thought they were going to do a lot better, but then they went to lose against the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Packers, which is insane. The Bengals are 3-1, which is absolutely insane as well, but I think the Steelers should have won that game. They're currently last in the AFC North, and the Bengals, Ravens, and Browns are all 3-1 in that league, which goes to prove that they have a lot of competition this year.
That Bills loss is probably the flukiest of the year, wouldn't you say? That the Bills lost to the Steelers in Week 1. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's something where I think there are still a lot of Josh Allen doubters. I think it is something where early season losses are not something that matter. Especially we added a 17th week. I mean, that first week, if you're looking at it in the lens of literally any other year, you know what, just treat it like a preseason game. Let's just keep moving.
The Steelers are 32nd in the league in terms of rushing offense. They average 55 yards per game, and they have the kid Najee Harris, the rookie, but he has no room to run. So they can't run the ball. And Ben Roethlisberger is 50,000 years old, and he has the arm of an old man, and they're not getting anything done on offense. So, Ben, what about you? Who are you not impressed by so far?
Now, I've said the Browns. I know.
What?
I know. They're 3-1. I get it. They're 3-1. The Bengals are also 3-1. And you said it yourself. The tides are changing in the AFC. The AFC is so good. Every team is really, really good. And if you're looking at the Browns, they have a good defense. You look at their offense. They have Odell. They have top 3 running game in the entire league. And for all things considered, they should be a bubble Super Bowl contender. And yet I'm looking around the league, and I'm not sure I see a way they get there. I'm not sure I see a way that they even conceivably make it to the AFC Championship game. I certainly don't see them winning it. I think that the top teams in the AFC, I think the Buffalo, I think the Chiefs will have their number. The Ravens will have their number. Will they even make it out of their own division?
Do you have doubts about that? Do you think that the Browns will make it out of the AFC North?
I think that it would be silly to just sit here and say absolutely not, no way. But I do think that it's going to be really difficult, and I think that their window is closing for
their window
major
just
success.
opened.
No,
what do you mean their window just opened?
Because you have so many young quarterbacks getting better in the AFC right now, even on teams that aren't doing as well. The Patriots are going to be an issue again later, and not to, I'm a homer, but obviously you have a lot of teams that aren't going anywhere. And the Browns feel like, the Chiefs feel like they've put it together. The Buffalo feels like they've put it together. And the Browns still, at this point, Baker is not improving. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, and I think that he gets a lot of flack for being picked number 1 and not, blowing everyone away. But defense wins championships, but you need a solid quarterback.
Daniel, are you buying any of this?
No, I honestly think that they are one of the top teams in the AFC. I'd say second team in the AFC. I currently do not believe that the Chiefs are better than the Browns by any means. Not only their record, they do have a lot of talent, but they just have no defense whatsoever. And like you said, defense does win championships, and I see a lot more potential from the Browns than the Chiefs this season.
Well, the only loss the Browns have on their schedule this year is the Chiefs in a game that they easily could have won, and they played the Chiefs very well. What about teams that you're impressed by? There have been teams that have surprised us that didn't necessarily expect. So, Ben, who has surprised you for the better?
Well, I remember sitting last season watching a Patriots game where Arizona and Kyler Murray just kind of let the game just get out of their hands. Like they had no business losing that game. I'm sitting here this season looking at that team, and I don't see a better team in the NFL than the Arizona Cardinals.
They're the best team in the NFL right now.
I think I've seen a lot of people rank them number 1. I was a little bit hesitant.
Are you buying into the quarter season power rankings, putting the Cardinals at number 1? Because when you do that, you get into some trouble if you're buying the power rankings in October.
Look, I mean, I'm basing it more off of where I'm seeing genuine improvement. Whereas I think, going back to the Browns, I think Stefanski and Mayfield haven't shown much improvement. I think both Kingsbury and Kyler have shown major improvement. Kyler has just the wherewithal and the guts to just get the ball to his receivers. Get the ball to your receivers. They're going to make a play. James Conner is a pretty good running back, and I think that defense is just really tough. I think it's really tough.
I mean, I think the Cardinals are a good team. Kyler Murray is a great quarterback, but I do not believe it quite just yet because we saw this last season. The Cardinals started out great. We were all like, oh, there's something to be reckoned with. They might go to the Super Bowl this year. They came out of nowhere. But this season, it's starting off strong again, but I think about halfway through the season, they could easily die out. So I think it's too early to tell with them.
The Cardinals were 6-3 last year, and after the Hail Murray, y'all remember that. I do. It wasn't a good day for me personally. But they finished 2-5 the rest of the season. And personally, I can't buy into Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's one of the worst coaches in the league. When you get the Cardinals out of their plan A, he has no plan B. And Kyler Murray, he was forced to throw to anybody not named DeAndre Hopkins last year. And they proved that he can't do that. Now, this year they have a lot more weapons, I think. Now, Danielle, do you think that they have the weapons that can make up for their shortage last year, that maybe help them take that leap?
I think they do have the potential and they do have the weapons, but I still don't quite believe it just yet. I'd say maybe next year that might be their year, but I don't know. It's way too early to tell with them. I think they will kind of die out halfway through the season. Or if they do go to the playoffs, I think that we'll all be super excited and expect a lot from them, but they will lose early on.
Now, who do you have your eyes on right now?
I honestly have my eyes on the Chargers. The Chargers are 3-1, and they have Justin Herbert, who's a second-year quarterback. He already has 1,178 passing yards, which is the 8th most in the NFL, behind Derek Carr this season. They're first in the AFC West. They've won against teams like the Washington football team, the Raiders, and the Chiefs, which is a big deal. And they've only lost to the Cowboys, which was still a close game. It was only 20-17.
Ben, do you buy into the Chargers?
I mean, my fantasy team is called Eckler's Protectors. So let me start there.
Have the Eckler's Protectors protected so far?
I mean, Eckler has. It's been up and down, but I also buy into the Chargers. I buy into Herbert 100%.
How good is Herbert? How good has he been this year?
I was perusing Twitter, and I went through the accounts of a couple quarterback gurus and former quarterback coaches, and some of them talked about, and Carson Palmer, I believe, talked about how Josh Allen and Justin Herbert have this, not necessarily the way that they described Fitzpatrick's cannon of an arm, but it's like a soft blast out of the hand, where it's just smooth like butter, but that ball is just absolutely soaring and it's moving quickly. And that kind of quarterback play is what you need from a real contender. Eckler's doing great. I mean, that offense in general, Keenan Allen, there's a lot of production, and I do think that they can go far.
That was a huge statement win in Kansas City because they never beat the Chiefs, and Justin Herbert going against Patrick Mahomes, that was probably so far the signature win of the season across the entire NFL. I think that how good can the Chargers be? Are they a wild card? Can they win the division? Can they maybe win a playoff game?
I mean, I think that if they make it to the playoffs, I think they can, or not make it to the playoffs, but if they make it through the wild card game or anything like that, they have room to make noise. I mean, if it kind of feels like a team where it's like a truck coming at you, where if you don't kind of get in the way and you don't neutralize any of the offensive weapons, you're going to have a rough and long day.
It's quite a truck. Is Justin the driver?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it's playoff time in Major League Baseball. A pair of wild card games are in the books, and we have a postseason to forecast. We'll break down the entire playoff picture for you and tell you who you're going to see in the World Series. That's next.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jared Tatro on the street for Common Sense, a game show for normal people to test their life skills and average knowledge. But today we're going to harass some Emerson College students to see if they have any knowledge of daily life skills. They probably don't, but who knows? Some of them might surprise me. Let's find out. Excuse me. How many inches are in a foot?
4, I don't know.
No, 12! Ma'am, excuse me. What colors are on the American flag?
Purple Emerson colors.
Oh my God! What is wrong with you? Excuse me, ma'am. Who is the most recent winner of Best Actress at the Academy Awards?
Genevieve Howley. That's me.
I don't have time for this. Goodbye. How much money is 1,000 euros in United States currency? What? Excuse me, sir. What is the capital of Virginia?
Richmond?
I think that's true. Yes, correct. Have a good day. Excuse me, sir. Who's the president of France? They don't know. All right, let's go. I think I scared them. I think they were younger than I thought. Excuse me. What is objectively the best planet?
Pluto.
No, wrong! No, it's the sun. The sun is like the king of planets. Goodbye!
Welcome back to the box score. I am joined on stage once again by Danielle and Ben. We're also joined by Chris Consoli. Chris, first show back for you. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, let's dive right in, shall we, Chris? The playoffs have arrived in Major League Baseball. The Red Sox and the Dodgers moving on out of the wild card round. Chris, Boston against the New York Yankees in a highly anticipated divisional matchup in the wild card from Fenway Park. The Yankees, they didn't show up and the Red Sox did.
Yeah, it was a great game, and it's one of the greatest rivalries in sports. It was really exciting to watch both teams. I made a lot of predictions that came true in the game, and it was great to see the power in the Red Sox lineup show up. And honestly, I think that Bogarts might have a Daniel Murphy-like postseason this season. I don't know what you think about that, but
You think he's gearing up for a postseason for the ages? You think Xander
he
Bogaerts?
very much well could. I mean, how he was playing in that game, like he's not really the home run hitter. And back when Daniel Murphy was playing, he wasn't the home run hitter, but postseason magic is a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was nervous watching the game, being from Boston, and personally, I didn't call that many things. I didn't even call the Red Sox actually winning. But now that they have won, you know, they showed that they have the grit, and I get that it's a one-game playoff and people have their feelings about it, but I think they can move forward strongly into the future and build off this win.
Danielle?
I'm excited for the next series against the Rays. Now, I think that could be really nerve-wracking for us Boston fans, but I believe we have the talent, and our pitching has gotten better throughout the season. So I believe that the Red Sox could possibly make a really good playoff run depending on how they do against the Rays.
This is the Red Sox' first trip back to the playoffs since they won the World Series in 2018. And if they're going to make any run in the playoffs, they have to score runs because since the All-Star break, they've been really struggling. They were in the divisional race at some point, and then they fell off in the divisional race and had set up for the wild card. But in the process, they didn't know how to score. And they have to be able to find a way to do that if they're going to make a run against the Rays or the Astros or White Sox.
Well,
you guys think they're capable of doing that?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course. Here's the thing. Like, they have, how many? Like, almost 5 players with 5 or more of 25 or more home runs. They have very deep power in the lineup, and J.D. Martinez is back. He's going to be able to pinch hit in Game 1. And like we saw in the game, Schwarber, Bogarts, and then there's even more later down in the lineup. They have a lineup that could be a problem. But the thing is that they're going to have to compensate for the pitching, because if they can't compensate for the pitching, it's going to be a lot of high-scoring games, because that's the only way they're going to win these games.
Now, the Dodgers won a thrilling game against the Cardinals in their wild card game, and now they're off to face the Giants. And the Dodgers, they won the World Series last year, and they had to get in as a wild card, but they could make a run as well, Chris.
I mean, it's looking like it's going to be the same. But it was a good game. I was a little upset, and my jaw was dropped for about 2.5 minutes. I mean, I want to get a time on that for my friends, but it was dropped for a while. I mean, but that's the thing about the Dodgers, that they, like the Red Sox, but it's worse. They have power, they have contact all throughout the lineup. Everyone's a problem, especially Trey Turner. And the Giants fans should be nervous, honestly.
Danielle, do you think that for this team that won the World Series last year, now they're a wild card, now they have to win not as the highest seed anymore, do you think that could be a good thing that can reinvigorate this team to have the itch to give them the eye of the tiger to go that further and try to go back to back? I think it helps.
I think it does help. It definitely kind of puts them under the spotlight because everyone wonders what happened and why are they so much worse this season than they were last season. But I personally believe that the Giants will take it over the Dodgers.
That was pretty clear. Like you have no doubts that the Giants are going to win that series?
I mean, I think it'll be pretty close because both of them have absolutely amazing hitting, but I think the Giants will have the slight edge over them.
I mean, I don't know if you can just make that claim because I feel like it's just so
She
hard.
just did.
It's so hard to bet against the Dodgers. You're
Right.
coming off a World Series win. The roster is just as stacked at literally every position. And, I know the Giants have had a great season, like really the only better season. But coming through into the playoffs, like riding any sort of momentum, it comes down to these playoff games. We saw how momentum worked for the Cardinals, you know what I mean?
So now they're out.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the Yankees had momentum going into the Red Sox game, and their season is over. Now, looking ahead, we've narrowed the playing field down to 8 teams competing for the World Series. So as we dive into the deeper edge of the playoffs, I want to hear, who do you guys think have a chance to make it all the way and win the World Series? Ben, start with you.
Now, I was saying before, I feel like I'm going to be the king of narratives, and I really just want to be able to push them. And I know that we need analysis and we need good, informed discussion, but you guys were getting on me for thinking that Houston had a shot making all the way. And I still feel like they definitely can, and the only reason I say that is because we were talking about earlier, the Red Sox can put up a fight against the Rays. And I thought either, at the time of when we were discussing this, I thought either the Yankees or the Red Sox could really put up a fight. And baseball's a war of attrition. You know what I mean? If there are teams that, the White Sox matchup will be difficult for the Astros. I think it's probably the most even matchup we have, at least in within the ALDS. But I think if they make it through that, and I think they can beat Tampa because they've been there before.
If there's one thing the Astros are good at, it's losing wars. They lost so many of them after the sign stealing scandal. But this is the first season that fans are back in Houston since the sign stealing scandal. But there are a lot of good teams in the playoffs this year, and you think the Astros have a really good shot of going deep. What do you guys think about that? It's kind of a hot take, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I personally do not agree at all with that. I personally think it's going to be the Rays versus the Giants, but it will be the Rays pitching versus the Giants hitting. We all know Chris Bryant is a force to be reckoned with, so I believe that is a big concern for the Rays.
I completely agree with the Chris Bryant, but I honestly think that the Red Sox have a really good chance of making it out of that Rays series, just simply because of the deep power in the lineup, which I really, really, really stand by, and I think that people really don't support. They got a lot of power in that lineup. Yes, the bullpen is a dumpster fire, but in the playoffs, just with all that tension and everything, it worked out in the wild card game, and that was a very, very important game to win. And the Yankees were a pretty tough team to beat, but it's really tough for me because I know that the Dodgers are coming out on the NL side, because the thing with the Giants and the Dodgers series is that the Dodgers have everything that the Giants have everything the Dodgers have, but the Dodgers just have it better. So it's easy for me that the Dodgers are going to come out from the NL, but with the Rays and the Red Sox, it's either between them. But we're going to have to see how it plays out, but I'm rooting for the Red Sox.
So let's talk about that Rays-Red Sox series a little bit. So in the season, the Rays won the series 11-8, so it was a little close. And obviously, for much of the season before the All-Star break, the Red Sox and the Rays were neck and neck at the top of the division. Then it really got away from the Red Sox. Let's go around. What do you guys think? Who comes out of that series specifically?
I think it would be hard for me to stand here and bet against Tampa. I think that the Red Sox are having, they're rebounding well. We're having a dream season pre-break, but the Rays are just kind of a complete roster all around. And I do think the bullpen is going to be an issue for the Red Sox, as much as I think that the playoffs are really just about players that show up. And if you can have, even if the Red Sox lineup is showing up every single game, I think that there's some things that you can't overcome. I think a well-built organization is just very difficult to overcome when you are the underdog.
Okay.
I mean, I've said enough about the Red Sox. I'm pretty sold on the Red Sox.
You can say more if you want.
I mean, I'll talk about.
We're on stage. Everyone's listening to us. If you have more to say about the Red Sox, I want to.
I really don't. But I would love to talk about Schwarber more, but I don't have to. But the thing that I will say about the Rays is that they do have a lot of young talent on their team, and young talent in the postseason, it's a little dicey. But they do have Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz has a lot of playoff experience, and they have a lot of great pitching. You got Glasnow, you got Shane Baz, and you got Chris Archer. I mean, they do have, and the other thing that they're great at this season is the come from behind wins, and that not only is it good, like it's great for the sport and it's great for the viewer, but it's going to be a great series. Like that's the one I'm most excited about.
It's going to be a fun postseason for sure. Now, we sent one of our own correspondents, Cooper Sherman, to Fenway Park before the wild card game to get some fan reaction as they built up to the game against the Yankees on Tuesday night. Cooper, what do you got?
Hey, I'm here at Fenway Park where the Red Sox are going to play the Yankees tonight at 8 p.m. And it's a one-game wild card. Whoever wins goes to the playoffs. Whoever loses goes home. How are you thinking about tonight's game? You think the Sox are going to pull it out?
Sox are going to kill them. They're going to win big time, and they're home at Fenway, and they beat them 10 times out of 19. This is going to make it 11, so that we go ahead and they go home.
Nice. Love to see that energy. How do you think Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge are going to fare tonight?
I think they're going to have at least 5 RBIs over the 2. Garrett Cole's going for 13 strikeouts, 8 inning shutout. Roldis Chapman's going to come in and shut it down. And we're going on to Tampa Bay, going to whip their ass too.
Who do you think is going to be the star of tonight's game?
Devers.
All right. Do you think he hits any homers?
3.
3. Wow, that's a bold take right there. 3 homers from Rafael Devers, the star of tonight's game.
I'm gonna have to go with Devers. Yep.
Devers, okay.
Yep.
That's another Devers pick right now. Do you think he hits any homers?
I think he'll get 1.
How do you think Garrett Cole's gonna do tonight?
Oh, Garrett Cole, I know historically against Boston he's a little shaky, but he's a big-time player, and in big-time moments, he comes to play.
From Fenway Park, I'm Cooper Sherman, the box score.
Thanks, Cooper. That looks like a whole lot of fun. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for watching The Box Score. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at EIV Box Score. And keep your eyes peeled for our next episode for some more red-hot analysis like this. Maybe Daniel Dimes Jones is a top 10 quarterback this season. Ball don't lie. For Danielle DuBois, Ben Sher, Chris Consoli, and Cooper Sherman from Fenway Park, I'm Sam DeCoste. We'll see you next time. We're out.